In today's episode, 3 plus 3 plus 1.5 equals all you're getting is a half hour, tops. Written up for not following work schedule. I comply to the fullest. We switched banks after they lost my dad's savings and tried to bill us for their mistake. So let's get started. 3 plus 3 plus 1.5 equals all you're getting is a half hour, tops. Years ago, one of my employer's clients decided to set up a new office in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I got chosen to spend 3 weeks there getting the new space set up. Also chosen for the job was a guy from another division's Chicago office, Dave. I'd never worked with Dave before, but from the start I didn't like him much. He was never less than 15 minutes late, he lumbered like a zombie, and I caught him dozing off more than a few times during the first week on site. Still, he was the closest thing I had to a friend in Fort Wayne, so I invited him out to the bar on Friday for all the company-funded booze we could drink. "I wish," he says. "I'm going home and passing out until Monday, the commute has been killing me." Wait, what? It seems Dave's boss had been AD*CK, and instead of paying for a plane ticket, hotel and rental car like my boss had, he'd instructed Dave to drive. From Chicago, almost 3 hours away. Me, dude. That is like, totally no bueno. 6 hours a day just driving? Dave, yeah, it sucks. Me, still, it'll be killer money. That puts you at what, like 70 hours this week? Geez. Make sure you put in for your gas and tolls quick though. The last time I had to get reimbursed for expenses it took him over a month. I could see what little light Dave's eyes held fade. Dave, they're not paying for any of that. Hearing that I put in a call my boss, who was as puzzled as I was. If he'd worked for our division, he'd be paid for his drive time and expenses at least, and we were both pretty sure it was corporate edict and not something individual divisions could choose not to obey. Unfortunately, neither I nor my boss had any say in the matter, and neither of us were familiar with Illinois or Indiana labor law, so all we could do was advise Dave to save his receipts for the IRS and complain to HR. On Monday Dave was late again. After an hour I was worried and called his cell phone. "Dave, I just passed Portage, making pretty good time all things considered. I should be there in about 2 hours." Dave sounded perfectly happy about it, so I figured he'd been required to stop into his office before heading out for some reason. Me, "Okay, Dave. I'll see you then." When Dave arrived a little after 11, the first thing he did was take a 15-minute break. Long drive, I understood. There was still most of the day ahead of us, and after the break Dave finally got down to business booting up his computer. He had barely logged in when he stood up and announced he was taking his lunch. Okay. Something was going on, but I hadn't the foggiest idea what. After lunch Dave finally got around to some work, putting in a good 20 minutes reading email before stopping by to see me. "Dave, I'm gonna take my second 15 now, then I'm heading home." Me, what? Dave, grinning like a nut, "Don't worry, I spoke to HR over the weekend." I didn't see Dave on Tuesday, his cell phone was going unanswered, and neither my boss or I had any luck finding out why. We didn't try hard, not our zoo and not our monkey, after all. Ditto for Wednesday, but whatever, he's probably just sick. And then on Thursday, I see Dave. Before work. At the hotel breakfast buffet. Me, Dave. I was getting worried when you were no-show the last 2 days. Dave laughed a little and after we piled our plates with bad scrambled eggs and burned sausage, told me a story. On Monday the client had noticed him coming in late, doing no work, and leaving early, and called our company to complain. Dave, in turn, was called into a disciplinary meeting with his boss and local HR who were prepared to terminate him over putting in for 32 hours of unearned overtime the previous week and not working it all the day before. Dave said they were serious too. One of the guys from building security interrupted the meeting to deliver a box containing the personal effects from his desk. Dave had an ace though. Well, 3 aces. An email from his boss instructing him to drive to Fort Wayne every day at his own expense as a change in work location. 1. An email from corporate HR telling him that while he wasn't required to work overtime, he was required to report any overtime worked, including driving to or from a client. 2. And a page from his division's employee manual. 3. Which covered paid breaks off-site. He then informed them that he was not working any more overtime and, after 3 hours driving in, 1.5 hours of breaks, and 3 hours home, it left him with just a half an hour a day to do actual work. Less, actually, if the traffic was bad. Oh, and that corporate HR was willing to stand behind him on it. He'd just spoken to them before the meeting. Dave, it took them about 3 seconds to realize they were screwed, and well, here I am, back in action. And, since everything was booked last minute, I'm in a suite with a jacuzzi, and my rental is a damn Cadillac. Written up for not following work schedule. I comply to the fullest. Cast R, me equals cook 1, Bob equals cook 2, Mia equals supervisor, boss. Names change for privacy. Our workplace follows a bi-weekly work schedule. I am one of 3 cooks that work. I usually work 4 to 5 days per week. Interchanging Friday and Sat 11h closing shift and Tuesday and Thursday 6h closing with Bob. As Friday and Sat are the most busiest, and we close at 11 p.m. instead of 10 p.m. as most days. With agreement from our boss, we would switch every schedule. This schedule would be sent in text and a physical copy at work. Bob was scheduled to work this time as I gave notice a month ahead for those days off. Boss likes to copy and paste schedules, screws up by posting the physical copy stating I'm supposed work and text copy as my days off. First week of Mia following the physical copy. She calls me that day that I'm 30 late and asking where am I? Confused, I explain the situation that I have my day off and I can't come in. She interjects saying I was scheduled to work and that I'll be getting a warning for no-show. The next day, I get a call from boss about my no-show. He doesn't care that the schedule was wrong and not matching. Tells me if I miss today, I'll be written up and that you must follow the schedule at work. He can't schedule anyone else as nobody wants extra shifts besides me / Bob / Cook 3 and can't hire anyone as not enough business. Next month rolls around. Bob is quitting and has already given his 2-week notice. The new schedule shows up and I noticed, the schedules don't match. Bob was assigned to work Friday and Sat when he already has quit by then. So after closing Thursday night, I muted my phone from work and I head home to have a few drinks and AJ. Come back to work, son and boss is waiting. Goes at me for missing work and how he had to fill in for me as nobody else could. I just told him I was only just following the work schedule exactly. Oh man, he was furious. But after calming down, he 180 degrees as he had no one the next week to cover those days. I just said I couldn't work those days as I get back to work just as the lunch rush comes. What makes my MC even better is, next week comes. I'm at my mom's work friend's party. I see my boss wife there also. I meet her and have a short convo that led to asking her where boss was. She said he couldn't make it as he needed to cover some shifts at work. I replied, too bad, he probably should have scheduled someone. Hope you enjoy my MC as much as I did. We switched banks after they lost my dad's savings and tried to bill us for their mistake. Years ago we had moved from one state to the next. About a month ago, some lady had managed to find an old checkbook or something of my dad's and managed to clear out his entire savings. My dad tried to buy groceries and thought his card was broken, went to order a new one, was shocked when he found out that all of his money was gone and tried to clear it up with the bank. He said to me later that there should have been noticeable red flags when going through that check. We were out of state, the check that the lady cashed was pretty old, about 5 to 6 years old, and my dad recently had a divorce about 3 years ago and had to make a new account. They required to check signatures, and I'm not sure how they managed to pass that. It should have been suspicious at the start since it was cashing out the entire savings. The bank apologized and said that the banker handling the situation will be disciplined, the police will be called, she was found and arrested later, and that his money will be returned in 2 to 3 days or today, and a $40 transfer fee was required. I'm not sure how the entire conversation went bust. Here is the breakdown. Dad equals dad, BL equals bank lady. Dad, why a transfer fee? BL, that's for our policy, sir. Dad, I'm not paying for something you guys messed up on, I literally have no money, let alone cash. BL, I'm sorry if we aren't up to your expectations at this time. Dad, can you please talk to management and see if you can get it in by tomorrow? BL, hang on. My dad was put on hold for 30 minutes until he was put on the phone with a manger who wasn't much help. Dad, trying to still be nice at this point, can you at least put in the money tomorrow? Manager, I mean I can try, but that would still be $40. Dad, no. Manager, then you have to wait for 4 days. Dad, I'm not paying for some idiot's mistake. Manager, if you don't like our service then you're welcome to go somewhere else. Cue malicious compliance. My dad hung up and called me over to help him drive to another bank. He didn't tell me what he was doing after he made an account. When his funds were back, he transferred the money to his new account. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.